Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Welcome, everybody, to the Dukes of Gaming podcast. I am your host, the Duke of Anime, Thomas, and it's very good to be here for another week talking about video games. And of course, I'm joined by my two co-hosts. Starting first and foremost, we have the Duke of Education coming back from a European vacation. How are you doing, Alfredo?
I am great. It's great to be back and finally being able to play some games. I've been miserable going out like a normal person in real life, sightseeing. I just being away from my consoles. It was horrible.
So give us an update. Where'd you go?
I went to Paris and then London, and then Paris again. Took the train in between the two.
Nice.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. Coming back and navigating the Paris airport and almost missing my flight by literally them closing the gate and then us showing up while it was closing. Would not do it again. Don't recommend.
Don't recommend. That's good. Glad you had a good vacation. Glad you're back playing video games because there are a lot of video games out.
Welcome back.
Yep, too many games.
And of course, down there is our Duke of Rocket League, our resident champion. How are you doing today, Cole?
Great. And I do have an update. I was champion in 3s. Now I am champion in 2s. Which is it's an accomplishment because 2s are harder than 3s to get champion in. So I'm very excited about that.
Congratulations.
And that happened this week. So heck yeah.
Congratulations.
Nice. Thank you.
Man, so first off, before we get into what we've been playing, I do want to introduce a new member to my gaming family.
What?
I was in Best Buy, and I was like, you know what?
I was like, you're with Child? You're talking about a product, okay?
I'm with Video Game Child, you know?
Got it.
What is this? I'm very...
So
wait, let's try to guess. Can we guess?
Sure, you can guess. But I was in Best Buy, and I was like, you know what? I need a new one of these.
A new Switch. You got the OLED Switch.
Alfredo, what's your guess?
I don't have a guess.
You got OLED Switch.
I got the
It's gotta be.
Oh, nice. Hey, welcome to the... Where's mine at? Welcome to the party.
I will say, I was skeptical at first. I really was. Because I was like, so you're telling me there's no graphical updates. It's not faster. And the brightness is lower. playing it, you feel the difference. Like you just do. Like there is a tangible difference having that OLED screen.
Oh, I'm so
Also,
jealous.
like this is my old Switch. This poor thing. I've been without a kickstand for 3 years.
What happened to you? You broke it off.
I don't know where it went. I don't know what happened to it.
Mine's gone too. It disappeared. They disappear after like.
Because remember how the kickstand is, Alfredo. It's just like a
terrible.
piece,
Mhm.
and it's like if it falls off, it falls off.
I never use it, to be completely honest.
But you will. If you get the OLED, you will use it because Thomas is
Yeah.
about to tell you it is awesome.
So imagine like a kickstand that just like kind of props, just like if you remove it, it's just gone.
Mhm.
This thing has this. Let me see if I can open it.
And it's very sturdy.
Ooh. One of those
there's some
iPad
tangible
case.
gears there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so it just sits there.
That thing ain't moving. It ain't flimsy.
No, it's not flimsy. It's very high. Like the one thing I can say about this system is it's very high quality.
Yes.
Now, if I didn't have rewards and I didn't get it for cheaper than its, regular sales price, probably wouldn't have picked it up because I still think it's super overpriced.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But playing games on this thing, there's a tangible difference. And I kind of want to get into the first game I loaded up on it, which is the game I've been playing, Shin Megami Tensei 5. So, I dropped Shin Megami Tensei 5. I'd like to say maybe January. I was like, this is a lot of game.
Shame on you for dropping this beautiful game.
Look, it's not the game's fault. It's my fault. Like there was a lot the game was asking for, and I'm like, I respect this game. I like this game, but I do not feel like putting the time in to complete this game. I got even further, and I got into pretty much confirmed by you, Alfredo. I pretty much got to the last bit of the game.
Yeah, you're so close.
And I'm like, the grind here. Ooh, I don't know. I think it feels like I'm 5 hours away from finishing. I'm like, that's a hefty 5 hours of grinding I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if I do. But just to go back on like the Switch OLED.
How does it look though? Yeah. How does it look?
Looks really good. Like I always thought the game from an art style perspective looked really good. Like the colors of the the colors that the OLED brings out, like those reds, those blues in the game, they're really accentuated with this screen. I tried out some other games too. Not played a lot of, but just put it in. Try a little bit of Bowser's Fury. I'm like, I always thought that game was really blurry on the original Switch, like portable wise. When I played it on the OLED, I'm like, oh my god, this is the best looking Mario game.
That's so funny you mentioned that. So I have the OLED and I have the original Switch. Somehow my 4-year-old is my older child.
Mm-hmm.
He wound up with the old Switch, and my 3-year-old plays with my OLED. And like I tell my wife, I'm like, I don't know, like how in the heck he's like more reckless too. So that thing's just gonna get broken. But somehow it's his Switch and they don't want to swap. And I tell my older kid, like in private, I'm like, this is like the better Switch. And he's like, he doesn't care. He wants that one. He likes
yeah, when they're that age. The question is, which one has the cool Joy-Con colors?
That's right. And that's what I told my wife. I'm going to switch the Joy-Cons. He's got the purple and the green. He's got the Splatoon ones that Thomas has.
Not the boring white ones.
I'm going to
question for you, Cole. Question. Do you think that if you switch the Joy-Cons, would they be able to tell the difference?
He would. The younger one wouldn't, but my older one would immediately. Like he's so sharp with that kind of stuff. You can't sneak it by him.
He would be like, "Your screen's too big. It's not mine."
Yeah.
If I was him, I would be like, I would keep my mouth shut about it.
Yeah.
He's at that age though where he's like, I don't know. He just doesn't. He won't listen to that. I tried to tell him, look, it's brighter, it's better, it's this and that and other. But anyway, you mentioned Bowser's Fury.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been playing Bowser's Fury, which the whole Nintendo family structure thing. I've never had to worry about that my whole life, but oh my god, it's annoying. Like it's a hassle. It's not a good system. Like having 2 switches and he'll be playing one and it kicks Asher off another one, But anyway, they're playing it and I got to where I could get them to where they could both play Bowser's Fury at the same time. Mm-hmm. And across the room, it is a huge difference between that OLED and that other one. I mean, I'm taking double takes. I'm walking by the room several times a day taking double takes at how good that OLED looks. Those colors pop like crazy.
There are a lot. There's specific games that look a lot different. Like some games I did try that was pretty much the same. But I put in Breath of the Wild, and I was like, this looks relatively the same, but I do see it's a lot clearer.
And it's more colorful too. The other one, Breath of the Wild, felt washed out a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
How do games like that have that 2D art style, like Triangle Strategy and Octopath Traveler look? Have you gotten a chance to try one of those?
Not one of the newer ones.
I can imagine it looks incredible.
Yeah, I would imagine. I haven't put in Triangle Strategy yet into it. I was playing a little bit of it on my original Switch, but I will let you know that next week because I probably will be putting some time in it this week.
Sweet.
So yeah, but overall, just great. You know, just first impressions of this thing.
Nice.
It's the same old Switch. The battery life's a little better, but now I get to do fun things with this Switch. I will not say what they are. The OG. I won't say what fun things are going to be.
Totally legal things, I'm sure.
Totally illegal things, Nintendo. But this Switch is going to become the ultimate console of all time. So there's that.
You got to walk me through that because I want to do that. That sounds incredible.
Yeah, I can't wait to be playing Metal Gear Solid 2 on this thing. Can't wait. So, but that will be for maybe hopefully next week. The other game, speaking of PlayStation, the other game I've been playing is a little game called Sakura Wars. Now, I'm not the Duke of anime for no reason. And I made a commitment. There's a lot of games coming out this year, but I told myself I'm up in the anime games this year. Like I'm going to find a way. Because anime games, I feel, don't get their fair shake. They don't rate that well usually. So a lot of times people don't even hear about them. This is a game that came out. Yep. Yeah, this came out in 2019. It is a RPG with dating sim elements that takes place in the 1940s.
Okay, weird
time,
weird area.
Weird area, not typical anime fare.
That combo.
And it's like this imperial soldier has been stationed in a town, but his station is in a theater. And so like he's just, and the theater is filled with just females.
Like a theater as in like a Broadway theater?
Like a Broadway theater.
Shows are. Okay.
Yeah. And so like he lives amongst these women actresses and he's like the defender of the town, essentially. And so it's like a dating sim as well. And I'm like, I haven't played a game like this in a long time. It was on sale for $10 on the PlayStation Store. I was like, you know what? Let's try it out. And so far, it is very average.
Is it a $10 game though? Is my question.
Yeah. I don't feel cheated. I don't feel cheated at all. It has pretty decent combat. It's Kingdom Hearts-esque, if that's the best way to put it. Okay. It's not the greatest combat in the world, but I like how the story unfolds. It kind of has like Mass Effect dialogue trees, where you can kind of like, when you're talking to, like, you can wife one of the females in the game, and you have like, there's like 5 different females you can kind of go to. And so like you kind of have conversations with each one of them. You're like, all right, this is going to be my homie. And this is going to be like the one I'm trying to talk to, So it's like these different layers of it. I played games like this before. It's like half visual novel, half RPG, half dating sim. And so I think that it is a pretty decent combination of all of them. It doesn't do anything particularly amazing. It doesn't do anything particularly well either. But I do think it does a lot of things pretty decently. So I recommend it for anybody who likes harem games.
It sounds like a bit of a knockoff Scarlet Nexus, to be honest. With the
Scarlet Nexus has a really good combat though. I would not put this game in Scarlet Nexus's tier. I would not.
That's why I said knockoff.
There we go. Yeah, that's. But even then, it's like Scarlet Nexus. It's so different. Cause I feel like from a story perspective, this game is a lot better than Scarlet Nexus.
Oh, really?
Scarlet Nexus's story, let's be completely honest. Like
it wasn't that bad. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was a very anime story.
Do you remember? I feel like you remember like the high points of it, but what about those middle parts of the game?
Oh, I remember.
The middle parts, like I remember the heights of that game, like the middle parts where it's kind of dragging, like I did not like those. Like I did not like just going through like the individual like missions with different characters. Like these people have no like there's archetypes basically.
Mhm,
This game
right.
has a lot of characterization, I feel, of all the characters. I feel like the main focus of this game was try to be like a visual novel, but mix in that combat. And it's honestly not even a new game. I think the first game came out in 1996, so it's like a whole
Oh, wow.
series.
Okay.
And this is kind of like a reboot / sequel, where it's like fans of this series, but oh yeah, it's a reference to that, but it is at the same time like it's fine for somebody who's never played it. So yeah, if you see it on PlayStation, it's on sale now. Yeah, just cop it if you like anime games. Definitely not. It's definitely worth $10. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what I've been playing this week, pretty much. We can move to you. What have you been playing?
Sure. I have been having my life completely consumed by a little game called Triangle Strategy. Dumb game, cool game. Or dumb name, cool game.
Dumb name, good game.
Is what
You're
I
a
would like.
rapper now.
Let me ask you this: did you play this on the way to Europe on the plane?
So that was the goal. So I got this game the day that I was supposed to be leaving. So on the plane ride, I had a whole 8 hours until I got to my destination. Thought I was gonna play this, ended up just watching movies. Throughout the whole trip, basically, I was planning on playing it, but I really only got about like 2, maybe 3 hours because I had to do really dumb touristy stuff and couldn't play video games. So when I got home, I basically started in this game running because I had only played about 2 to 3 hours. And from those 2 to 3 hours, I did really enjoy what I got. So, just to give a brief background about the game, this game is basically the spiritual successor to another game called Octopath Traveler. And more spiritual successor in that it has the same 2D HD art style that they're going for. So it's like a very pixel kind of based game where they're very, very simple 2D sprites, but the game looks gorgeous.
It's a 2.5D.
Yeah. So you can explore you're a little pixel guy, pixel girl, classic JRPG kind of structure where you have your classes. But it is in that art style, but at the heart of it, it is a tactics game. So think like Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy Tactics. It's in that realm. And I would describe the combat as a mix of the two. It's not exactly Fire Emblem, but it's also not exactly Final Fantasy Tactics. So it's somewhere in there where you basically have a mission. You pick all of your units that you want to bring with you. Every single unit is a different character. Every character is a specific class. Like there's no overlays. Like you won't get 2 of the same warrior classes. Like that's not a thing in this game. Everything is different. So basically, from me playing this game just this week, I've amassed about 25 hours playing it because I cannot put it down. It definitely delivers on what I wanted it to be, and I thought that it wouldn't have that great of a story. I was expecting more of what we got from Octopath Traveler, which was not a story at all. This one actually has a story, which is nice. And in its trailers, the premise is that, okay, your choices are supposed to matter in this game. So it's called Triangle Strategy because there are basically different ideals that you take on. And you making choices reflects a certain ideal throughout the game. And you making these choices.
Are there 3 ideals?
Yes, there are 3 ideals.
Okay.
But so you're making choices all throughout the game, and it's a very Telltale, The Walking Dead game. They're kind of branching storyline. Like that's what this game is doing, and it's telling you to make choices, and then based off of your choices, it will branch off into okay, now your story is this, and then it will lead to a certain ending that is unique based off of the choices that you made. And surprisingly, it delivers 100% on that offer, far better than I thought it would, because I'm so used to with games like The Walking Dead, oh, your choices matter. You pick something and then, oh, it ultimately tunnels you into, the
like
same
the Mass
ending
Effect
that everyone
3,
else.
like Mass Effect 3, where it's
Exactly.
like your choices matter until the end.
Exactly. And so far, that hasn't been the case. And not only that, but so far, each of the choices that I've made, basically, you get to a breaking point and it says, okay, you can make this choice or you can make this choice. And the way that the game presents it is that basically, all right, you are head of this house and you have your certain party members in the house and they all it's more democratic, so all of them have a vote in the decision, but you get a chance to persuade every individual person to sway a certain way, and you're trying to convince X amount of people to sway the way that you want, and if you don't, then it goes the other way. So it's a really, really interesting combination of getting you to know the specific characters, because each character will have a very specific way that you need to convince them. No one person will be convinced by the same way. And by that, I mean, you might have a spy character. Anna is one of my favorite characters, and she's the spy class. And with her, you have to be very tactical. You have to say things that aren't really pulling at your heartstrings. You have to tell her, okay, this is how we get the advantage on the enemy, the drop on them. But then there will be another character that relies more on empathy and heart, and you can say things related to that in order to gain their favor. And if you don't, then they won't agree with you, and then they'll pick the opposite choice, which will lead you down a whole nother branch. So it's a really, really cool your choices matter kind of branching pathway that I would say really succeeds and really really gets you more involved with the story. And not only that, but the choices are never, oh, clearly this is the option. Like, all the choices really lie in that gray area where you can see, okay, this one makes sense. Oh, but this one also makes sense. And I can't even tell you guys how many times I've been like, okay, I can make this choice, but then what if this happens? Or I can make this choice, but then what will happen to this specific character? And I don't want to risk it. So it really makes you care about the characters more in that way. So that all said, I'm really enjoying it from the story perspective. And from the tactics, all I'll say is that the game is a really great tactics game. Hard mode is more brutal than I thought it would be.
You went straight for hard mode?
Yeah, I love playing games on hard mode. So I'm playing hard
I
mode.
do too, but not strategy.
Well,
strategy is the one that is the one genre for me where it's like I need to play this on normal at least like for the first couple hours just to kind of get a feel.
Well, this game does something really unexpected, because what it does is that for every battle, so I'm playing this game on hard mode, but you can change the difficulty at any moment. But it also does this thing where if you play a battle and you lose, you will keep all of the experience and all of the basically currency points that you gained by playing that level. So let's say your characters were at level 2, but in the combat you gain 2 extra levels. If you retry that level, you will be now at level 4 instead of being at level 2. So it's not like you're wasting your time. You're always gaining.
You're always
something.
progressing.
That's cool. It's also not like Fire Emblem where there's a permadeath option. Like, you're not risking losing your characters. You're not even risking losing your experience. Like, they reward you for your time that's given to you. So that makes it a little less brutal, but hard mode for sure. I probably repeated a couple battles like 4 or 5 times before I even been able to succeed in them, because they really test like the tactics of a tactics game that this is. But yeah, game is great, combat's great, story is better than I thought it would be. The only thing lacking is some of the characters are a little lacking. Like, some of the characters you get through character side stories, which basically means, okay, they're not a part of the main story, but they can be added to your overall party, and they are selectable, but they won't be in all of the regular story cutscenes. Like, we'll include them only in their special character side story kind of stuff. But aside from that, great game. Love it.
Good to hear. I'm really looking forward to this game since they announced it. I think it has a horrible name, but besides that, I'm glad to hear it's living up to your hype. Do you think this will maybe stay on your game of the year list throughout the year?
Oh, I think it will, especially just because of how
It's your game of the year so far?
I wouldn't say that.
What's your game of the year so far?
He's on Team Horizon.
Ugh.
I think he's on Team Elden Ring.
There's too many games.
Elden Ring?
I decline commenting right now on my game of the year.
You make us wait all year.
He's playing politics right now.
Yeah.
I think Triangle Strategy will definitely be up there, like for sure in the top 3. But there's also a lot of really, really great games, and I also haven't finished this
Smart
game,
man.
so we'll see by the end of the year after everything's come out. We'll see when I finish it if they are able to stick the landing, and if I'm hoping they don't funnel me into like a generic ending, which they haven't done so far. I feel like everything's been very catered toward my choices, my experiences. So if they can keep that up, it might end up on the top. We'll see.
I'm just happy because I think they had a potential 5 out of 5 game with Octopath Traveler that they completely messed up. Yeah, they messed up with how they did that story structure. Besides that game was incredible. Like that game was everything I've wanted from like a modern RPG.
I will say
it had that horrible story.
Yeah, they definitely fixed the story, but the story is for this game is not about your characters per se. It's more about this is like a Game of Thrones type
It reminded me, the little that I played in the demo reminded me of Gundam.
Yeah, I could see that. I haven't played too much of Gundam, but from what I do know about it, I mean,
in terms of it's like faction based, you know, like Gundam is very like, I don't remember any characters from Gundam. I remember like the factions.
Well, I say Game of Thrones specifically because there's a lot of twists in this game, but there's also a lot of deaths of characters that you don't think there would be. Like they are killing characters off.
Oh, man.
Like
I love that.
People who you think might be villains, they're just killing them off, and then like something else happens. So it has like it's a very political drama type of game as opposed to your team has to save the universe, save the world type of RPG. So it's like different in that aspect.
I'm excited. I got it on physical. Can't wait to play it on this OLED. Hopefully, it's one of the games that looks incredible on it. I can't wait.
Yeah, let me know.
I will, for sure. You might hear my thoughts next week on it. But this week, of course, we have to go to Cole. What have you been playing this week?
Nothing but Elden Ring.
And Rocket League, right?
And Rocket League. Yeah, I played some Rocket League, and I'm actually hit a streak. I went through a little period where I was losing a lot, and I fell out of champion. Then I got hot again, and now I'm champion on 2, so that's awesome. The game is just, it's the gift that keeps on giving. It's just
you're like you watch boxing at all?
No, not really. I watch the big matches, but nothing.
You're like Canelo, just going to different just going to different weight classes.
Yeah,
like, all right. You know, I'll be champion here. I'm gonna go champion here.
The hardest is solo. Like solo is where it gets crazy. There, people are flying around doing crazy tricks. The 2s is all about 2s and 3s are just being in the right position. You don't have to be able to do crazy stuff. Be the right position, make your shots, pass. You know. Anyway, Elden Ring it's incredible. I'll focus on the good things. I will say the performance is just not. It's just not that great. It sucks because,
of course, though.
Yeah, it does bring it down, and usually performance doesn't affect games for me, but it's been affecting me a little bit with this one. There's a lot of pop in, and the slowing down from 60. The drops are just. I would almost rather. I might just drop it back down to 30 and play solid 30.
I mean, that's how all their other. I mean, all the other From Software games pretty much on console ran at 30, right?
Yeah. Well, besides Demon Souls on PS5,
and they make that.
Hey, Bloodborne ran at like 15, and it was incredible. It's my favorite games of all time.
I honestly haven't noticed the FPS drops that much.
Man, I have. I don't know. What are you? So you're playing on 60 FPS?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's not that bad, but I was just noticing last time I was playing. But anyway, the game is incredible. It's humongous. I'm only at the second. I'm in the second dungeon, and there's a huge difference between the difference in the way the first dungeon looks and the second. I mean, not that big, but like the first one's like a classic castle. And Alfred, have you made it to the second legacy dungeon?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's what's it called? It's the
Renala.
No.
Rhea Lucaria. Darkar something.
The Academy?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Academy that's
Yeah.
all the dark arts and all this stuff.
Yep. Same
Yeah,
place.
that's awesome. I'm loving that place. It reminds me of, it's got all that graveyard outside and all that stuff. It's pretty cool. Ray
Lucaria. Yeah,
Lucaria.
that thing.
Raya Lucaria. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm loving the game. And I'm starting to experiment with different weapons and stuff like that. Usually in the Souls games, I kind of get one and I stick with it, but I'm just like experimenting. I'm just enjoying it. I don't know. There's not much else to say about it right now that we haven't said. I feel like we spent a lot of time on it, but
I definitely thought I was done or close to being done, and then I just opened up a whole nother part of the map. But that seems to keep happening because now that I'm, I guess, further in the game, I think I've played about 35 hours so far, and it keeps happening that I'm like, oh, I have to go to that place, but I want to go back to this place. And then I go there, and then I'm like, oh, I need to do this, and oh, I need to do that. This game just has so many things.
I have a question in regards. I have a question in regards to that. Is it more vast or dense?
I would say vast.
Vast. Oh wow, that's interesting.
Because here's what I will say. Because I give my impressions like 2 weeks ago when the game had first came out basically, and I played about like 10-ish hours, and at the end of those 10 hours I was running into, okay, I'm hitting a wall where everywhere I go is basically too high level, or I can't go here yet, or either that or it's railroading me. But now I'm on the complete opposite end where there's like almost too many things where I have to remember, oh, I want to go here and here and here. So this game is just it's very interesting. I think it fulfills on the promise of freedom and like pure adventuring. And I think that's what it does really, really well. And it just gives all of the, let's say, it relies on the player to want to discover everything and doesn't mind, oh, you're going to get your teeth kicked in here and there. But if you keep persevering, you'll come out on the other side, and then you'll have access to all these other areas, basically.
Yeah, how I'm playing it. So I'll, like, when I beat the first dungeon, got that whole next area, I explore the area for several hours, kind of do some little mini dungeons, mini bosses in the area, just go wherever I want to go. But then I just start getting real curious. So I try to push to that next dungeon, get to the next dungeon, and I found out that I'm kind of under leveled. And then I just go back to that big area, and I just live in that area for days, like real life days, just to stay in that area. Every time I turn it on, I'm just exploring. And then when I finally got to where I felt like the first area of the game, I had hit everything, every high point, then I moved on. So that's just kind of what I'm doing.
Way. That's probably the best way to experience this game.
Yeah.
Whereas me, I'm just going wherever, just going further and further into the areas that I probably shouldn't be because they're so high.
I started doing that, and it reminded me of like an MMO. Like I remember in the early Final Fantasy 11 days, I would just start running, and I would just try to see what I could see. And you get to these like really over level places where you're hitting one hit kills and stuff, but you just kind of want to see, like, get to that next big city or something. So I've done that several times, and I've wound up dying and wasting my time. But I don't know. It's awesome. It's an incredible game.
I will say I'm still not at the like this game is a masterpiece. This game isn't a masterpiece to me. I'm still not there, but I'm really enjoying the game, and it is a great game.
Made by Jesus and Buddha himself.
Well, it's kind of like the Breath of the Wild conversation all over again, basically.
Yeah, but you didn't like Breath of the Wild.
Exactly.
Isn't this right? Because, though, I thought it was because the game was empty feeling. This game does not feel empty.
That was part of the reason, but for Breath of the Wild, it was that and the fact that I didn't think the combat itself was.
And you gotta the combat here is like the best combat in gaming. A lot of people think that. I think that. I think it is. I think it's, in my opinion, it's the best combat in gaming. I don't think
no one hate me,
better.
but I will I would say Sekiro's is better combat.
Sekiro has really good combat.
Is what I would say.
I'm actually kind of referring to just Souls games
And
in
Demon
general.
Souls combat's really good too.
To me, Bloodborne's the best to me. I love the quickness of Bloodborne.
Bloodborne's frame rate just gets me. Like where it's
Yeah.
like I cannot when I first played at the time, I was like, this is incredible. But like they've iterated so much since then.
It's because you got a taste of 60 FPS. That's why.
But now, Alfredo, if the
That's
combat
fair.
was your issue with Breath of the Wild, this combat is vastly superior to Breath of the Wild, even if it's not as good as Sekiro. So then, what's your problem? Like, I know you like the game, but like, why does it not elevate to that masterpiece level that everyone else thinks it is?
I can't quite put my finger on it.
Is this another Final Fantasy X for you? Is this the game that me and you butt heads on, like Final Fantasy X?
Okay. Well, okay. What I will say, because this would venture into this is more like end game of the year end conversation, but as far as like a masterpiece, 10 out of 10 game goes for me personally, is something that does what no game has ever done, kind of deal, or that does what games have done and does it expertly, like masterfully. Like that's what a 10 out of 10 game. And this game does do like really innovative things, but I would say it doesn't it's not a huge departure from its previous games, like from Dark Souls, from Demon Souls.
Like
ultimately
the innovation
to me it is that substantial step though. That's where we differ. Like
it is a substantial step, but I don't think it's so vastly different from their previous games. It's just it's basically Dark Souls with open world, which is great, but I don't think that's a masterpiece.
Like it's Dark Souls 4.
No, I mean, it could be Dark Souls 4, but
like if it was called Dark Souls 4, nobody
I think
would
y'all
bat
understating taking a linear game and turning it into an open world. That is huge. Imagine
but there was always seeds of it in like Dark Souls.
Yeah, but this
like Dark Souls, like I played enough of the original Dark Souls and Dark Souls 3. Like while they're not open world games, like they're very like not corridor based. What's the best way to put it? Like they're interconnecting.
Mm-hmm.
So this just seems like they expanded that to the degree and created an entire world that has that. And I'm like, that's really great. And I think that's a really, great innovation for them. But I don't just from what I've seen, I don't see it as like the most iterative thing ever. It's a really good innovation, from their last game to this game. And I think that's enough to be said.
Agreed,
I think it's still impressive.
Yes, at the same time, I say that, but every time I turn on my PlayStation, what am I playing? I'm not going back to Horizon, which I still haven't finished. I'm playing Elden Ring, and I'm spending hours and hours doing that. So,
yeah. See, to me, it took what one of the best games of all time did, and it does it better, and it rewards the player even more than Breath of the Wild, because like enemy variety is so vastly superior than Breath of the Wild. The combat's vastly superior. The rewards for exploring are much greater.
But they're different games, though. Like they're completely.
No, they're different.
I
games,
don't even
everyone's
like
comparing
the comparison between them, because like Souls games are very specific. Because at the end of the day, this is a Souls game, so it's just completely different. Like just because, like I feel like I can't say that Breath of the Wild is better than Elden Ring, and I can't say Elden Ring is better than Breath of the Wild. I think they're just two completely different games that are similar in some core things.
Say one of those statements.
We know, but just overall with Elden Ring, like it's still a Souls game, and that's still a very specific type of game.
Yeah, so let me frame it like this. Souls games to me are so good already. They're like the pinnacle of gaming to me, and to a lot of people. They generally critically review well.
They have a hardcore fan base that has grown exponentially with each release.
For them to take that and nail the open world puts it at masterpiece for me. Because they took that and they moved it to the open world and they freaking nailed it.
I think that's fair.
And that makes it that's what makes it a 10 out of 10 for me, because Bloodborne is a 10 out of 10, but it's the only game in the Dark Souls franchise that I think is a 10 out of 10. The rest of them I think are good to great. But Bloodborne is a 10 out of 10. This one, like, elevates the rest of the franchise. You know, if you think it's good to great, I feel like it would elevate it to that masterpiece level. But this is game of the year conversation.
Yeah, for sure. We're
And we're
gonna have
only a
it.
month
I feel like
away.
we're gonna have a heated game of the year conversation when we get to it in February.
Oh, and guys, we ain't even halfway there yet. I mean,
Yep.
But
we got some
I
games
don't
coming
know.
out this
Part
year.
of me feels like the games,
We
like
should do game of like the first quarter.
yeah. I feel like the game, like we have a good sense of what the game of the year is gonna be.
I don't know.
What's
I
that?
have
I
a
have no
feeling
idea.
Kingdom
I
Hearts
don't feel like
spin-off
there's.
will be announced.
I know there's gonna be some good games coming out this year. I can't see anything coming out that's gonna supplant Horizon for me, and I don't think there's gonna be anything comes out that's gonna supplant Elden Ring for Cole. You know.
I will say, Starfield could. That's the what do we call it? The Black Swan event.
We have to see. We'll have to see.
Who knows?
I'm gonna rearrange topics a little bit just so we stay on with Elden Ring. So Elden Ring passed a milestone. Elden Ring hit 12 million copies sold. So I will definitely give a lot of credit because I didn't think that it would hit that this soon. That's incredible. That's absolutely
What was my exact quote? This is the Skyrim moment. And they've done
We're
it.
still far from 30 though. Like we're still far from 30.
Not too
But
far.
this is only 12 million in less than a month.
Yeah, no,
for sure.
it's incredible. It's incredible. I think it's definitely. I said 15 at first. I definitely think we're probably headed towards like 20, 25 range.
Ben, give me the credit.
Which, Cole definitely.
You definitely said it's going to be
2025.
their Skyrim moment. I think it is in a way that I definitely do.
Yeah,
so
it's massive.
Crazy. Yeah, and what's really crazy, well, I guess not so crazy about this news because it hit 12 million copies so soon, is that now Bandai Namco, who helped publish it, and From Software, who created it, are saying this is the start of a new franchise for them. So I'm sure we'll be getting Elden Ring 2, just like we got Dark Souls 2, 3, all of that.
Yeah, I assume Dark Souls is dead, and this is going to be their new big franchise that they're going to release multi-platform.
It does make me think, though, them calling it the start of a new franchise this so soon, I do get a little bit hesitant to be like, okay, this feels like they struck gold basically for this one. Like, how can they top this for Elden Ring 2?
I know,
You already have it in the open world setting. Like, what are you going to do?
I mean, I'm sure people said the same thing when Dark Souls 1 came out.
Yeah.
Very true.
So I have faith that they can definitely deliver a good innovation on an RE thing.
But the difference is that this one is at a what, 97 Metacritic? Like, I don't think there's any way that the second one can live up to the hype of the first one. I don't think it'll get anywhere near that.
It doesn't need to. Dark Souls 2 sold really well, and Dark Souls 3 sold really well as well. I think Dark Souls before Elden Ring, Dark Souls 3 was their highest selling game.
I'm sure it will sell well. I'm just, I guess, more concerned about
critically,
and I feel like people might be let down by the next one because this one was so great and their expectations are even higher. Not to say this game wasn't super high, because everyone was super hyped for Elden Ring. It was.
I think it will just be more of the same. It's just going to be more of the same.
Yeah, I mean, we're not
like all the other Dark.
They're not going to get a 97 2 times in a row, but they'll.
But what if
I can see him being in the 90s still?
What if they do though?
I can't see that. But I think they can definitely keep it in the 90s, which I mean, still, that's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
So I think that they've hit goal with this. I think that this is going to be the money-making franchise for them. I think their next game is actually an Armored Core game. I think they're going back to Armored Core, and then they're going to probably start on Elden Ring 2.
Mm-hmm.
And
Cole, I want a prediction. When are we getting Elden Ring 2?
Elden Ring 2. I think we're going to get Elden Ring 2 2025.
2032.
2025. All right.
3 years.
3 years?
Someone mark it down.
What do you think? It should be quicker than that? Or
I think it's going to be 2026 or 2027. Because it's like if the Armored Core thing is true, then they're going to be making an Armored Core game. Then
everyone mark it down.
Yeah, I think 2027.
Yeah, maybe. 2025 is my guess.
To be honest.
Think they're gonna let this one fester?
Hey, here's the thing. What's going to come out first? GTA 6 or Elden Ring 2?
GTA 6 was just funny.
Oh, what I will say though, here's my prediction. I think they will do before Elden Ring 2 comes out. I think they'll do DLC for Elden Ring.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, they've always done DLC, right?
Yeah.
Have they?
Yeah.
I know that they did
pretty
Scholars
solid.
of the First Sin for Dark Souls 2,
The old hunter,
right?
the old hunter
Bloodborne,
is Bloodborne.
Bloodborne had it. Dark Souls 3 has
Souls
DLC.
didn't. Demon Souls didn't.
That was the first game though.
No,
and that was before I think the big DLC like wave happened.
Actually, yeah, you're right. Yeah, but I mean, even the didn't some people were saying that they thought Bluepoint would do DLC?
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, that's them adding brand new content into it. It's like, yeah, I don't think that was ever in the cards.
Yeah, they basically added new content only in the form of Easter eggs, right? When they were
like they pretty much did it was pretty much 1-to-1.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't think they could just make their own DLC. I think that they're kind of locked to that.
But
I think the DLC is going to come. I think within the next year.
Was it Ben that was saying that, or one of you guys that was saying that they want to see Bluepoint take over and do like Bloodborne 2? Or
it might have
been. I said that'd probably be preferable, but Bluepoint said they're making an IP, so they're not doing that. That's out now. And if they were going to do something, it's probably going to be Metal Gear. So that would be great.
I've been waiting so long.
Yeah, you'll be waiting on that. but yeah, no, I think that maybe some other studio will work on Bloodborne 2 or something, if that's even a thing. But I don't think From Software is going to be working on anything else besides Armored Core and Elden Ring 2. Yeah, I think that's safe to say.
Yep.
But yeah, congrats to Elden Ring. 30 is a little ways away, but 12 million in a month is a great start. It's well on its way. So hopefully it gets to 30 million within the next year or two. I think it's very possible. That's definitely in the cards now. So
just to add to that, it was the second biggest launch behind Call of Duty over the last year.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Shouts out From Software. Hopefully you can get Elden Ring 2 out sooner rather than later for the fans. But we will move on to Ubisoft Scalar. Cole, you kind of introduced what this is because you brought this to us, and I thought it was very interesting in terms of what this could be for the future.
So we talked about this kind of cloud technology, the streaming tech to improve games, like not to be confused with streaming games, but to improve the tech behind the game, was introduced first with I think it was Azure, or no, wait, maybe I'm getting that. Maybe I'm completely thinking of something else. But Microsoft introduced this with Crackdown 3 several years ago. They had a big stage demonstration about how the physics and like the buildings would actually completely destructible environments, and it was awesome. And all the extra computing wasn't being done on the Xbox; it was being done in the cloud, which allowed for all this destruction and this change in the world and all that. It's because the Xbox can't handle that. But like this kind of technology, so Ubisoft announced that they did like a 2-minute trailer and said they're basically going to start using cloud streaming tech to make physics better, expand the worlds, have changing environments, physics, all this kind of stuff. And I feel like we need Ben on this. We were talking about this off air, but I don't really know how it works, but I feel like it could be huge. And I feel like this could be one of the biggest things powering like our next generation. Like, and these are the things I get excited about, which I've talked about before. I don't get excited about frame rate and resolution. I get excited about this kind of stuff. Like things that can make AI better, or make have changing worlds and like destructible environments and stuff like that. Like think because what's the reason, like I was playing Astrobot the other day, and you know how when you run in the steps and you leave little footprints behind, and you can only leave like 65, 75 footprints behind, then they all start disappearing,
Yeah.
So why do they disappear? Because of memory, right? Well, so if you offload that to the cloud, can't they can use technology like this to keep little things like that. So that even expands to like knocking down trees, or if you're in like Grand Theft Auto and blown up cars and stuff like that. If that's stored in the cloud and streamed to your system, then you can imagine all the different changes we can see, like completely destructible environments and stuff.
So basically, this project is essentially taking off the local hardware, like the limitations of the local hardware, and putting it like making it streamable, right? Putting that like all on the cloud so that all that data is only on the cloud, right?
Yeah. So they can stream, so you can still play the game, control the game locally, but stream all this back end stuff, like storing like all these every wall you knock down, storing that data instead of storing it locally and bogging your system down, storing it on the cloud.
See, if you told me all of that before something like Xbox Cloud Gaming came out, or any of the multitude of cloud gaming options we have now, like Stadia and all of that, I would have been like, that sounds like online only, and I don't know if we're ready for that. But seeing as how we have so many things like that, and you can literally stream Xbox Game Pass games on your phone, on your tablet, or on whatever.
Think about it like this. What if it was only games as a service? Like Destiny, you could only play online. So I think this is implemented in their Assassin's Creed game. I think that's where we're first going to see this, is in that
Assassin's Creed Infinity.
Yes, I think it's going to be something to do with that, and they're going to unveil this at like whatever. If we even have an E3 this year, is E3 canceled? I can't even remember.
We don't know.
I don't. Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, whatever.
Been announced.
We'll get the answer to that next week.
Yeah. Well, I think that this is going to be. I think that that's going to be debuted with Assassin's Creed Infinite, and I think it's going to be very impressive.
Now, to play devil's advocate, I think it's a great technology. I think this is one of the things I get excited for, in terms of the progression of video games.
Yeah.
I think it's something like this is very much addressing, points you've made in terms of, like when you're walking in the sand, why does the footprints disappear? Like
we've just been doing that since the N64 days. That
right,
should be over, I feel like.
Right. The only thing that I get troubled by is Alfredo said the one thing where it's like, like the internet, like how does it work with the internet? But even besides that point, when it comes to preserving video games, when they're becoming so reliant on technology of the now, I get worried about how can we possibly preserve video games going forward. Yeah. And when you introduce technologies like this, I'm like, this is going to be very cool for the games when they come out. But what happens, like, if somebody wants to return to that game, let's say, like, in the next console generation?
Yeah, and if those servers are shut down and they're not supporting that cloud system, then it's just going to be gone.
Right. That's right. And I don't trust these companies to be pro-consumer on that front because they failed to do so even now when streaming is not that great.
I feel like that's fair, but at the same time, we have to, if we're going to make that argument, we also have to think about how games are shipped now, and are they truly playable without their day one patches, without these huge 20 gigabyte day one patches, even though they're available,
I agree. I agree with you on that, but I'm saying this is more
Another
going
step.
towards that like apocalypse. You know what I'm saying? Like this is another step in that apocalypse because we're already at the point where I will give credit. The Switch still works as a local console.
Yes.
The cartridges are the cartridges and it contains the whole game. Usually there are those games that do like, it's just a digital code and everything. But for the most part, you get your Switch game, you put it in, it's the game. When it comes to PlayStation and Xbox, that's not the case anymore.
And you know what, though? As much as it sucks, and for old school gamers like us, it's hard pill for us to swallow, but the future is just not going that way. It's going towards a way where you're not going to own the game. You're going to have a license to play the game. And when they shut down those servers, you lose access to it. And if we want to push the boundaries of video games, we just have to accept this, because that technology, all these kind of things, like it might give us this awesome, incredible game, destructible environments and all this stuff. But we have to accept the fact that we can't play it offline. It's going to have to be an online game.
I disagree from this perspective. If I get you in terms of technology. Like, yes, this is a new innovative technology. Doesn't stop the games we played in the past from being really good.
No, I agree.
You know, like they can still make games in that fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, there's no arbitrary. It has to be this way. You know, it's just this is
but
just
I
the
think
line that the companies themselves have set.
I think they're just wanting to push the boundaries and take video games farther, take it to the next level, and do these things that we couldn't do before in games, and it aren't possible on like. I'm not going to jump to Hogwarts, but like that, the seasons in that game going from winter and fall, that's incredible. And like this is the kind of engines that can push things like that. They could push snow onto a server and have the snow fill the world up and actually accumulate. Like I'm willing to take the sacrifices to have that.
I'll put it like this: it's a solution. I don't think it has to be the solution. You know what I'm saying?
But we know that it can't be done on the hardware that we have now and the hardware we're going to have in the next 5 to 10 years. It's just not going to be powerful enough to handle that kind of stuff. This has to be done in the cloud if they're going to do this.
I mean, I think both of you guys are hitting great points. I mean, but I think it's both of what you guys are saying. Like we can have both, and we will have both. I think what we'll see this in really are, like you're saying, Cole, like more live service games where like there's ever changing worlds, MMO types of things, and just live services in general.
Fortnite, Destiny,
but we'll still have what Tom's is talking about, like the classic thing where not everyone will need that, and if they don't need it, they won't use it.
Yeah.
My problem is there are probably going to be games that use this that don't need to use it. And that might affect how they are long term. There have been plenty of games that I've seen where it's like the developers just left this game out to die. You know, and I'm like, I don't like the idea of adding another thing that makes preserving games even more complicated because it's already like in a horrible state right now. That's my only drawback with this.
I just really don't think it's going to get any better as far as preserving games. But like, do you want us to stay boxed into what these systems can do, or do you want these worlds to be more believable, more destructible, better AI, and all these different kind of crazy systems that they could do with the cloud? Do you want to give all that potential up just to have a game that you can play 20 years from now? But the thing is like, you may not even want to play it 10 or 15 years from now. New games will be coming out just for the sake of preserving it. When, who knows, we still can solve this. Like maybe these servers can somehow, they will start to keep them on, or like maybe they can offload it to communities. I mean, hey, maybe they could use the blockchain or some kind of technology to keep these things preserved somehow. You know, I don't know, but there could be solutions to them. I'm glad they're pushing the boundaries though. But I mean, I see what you're saying.
I'm just of the always mindset that I do not ever trust these companies to do the thing that's right for the consumer ever.
Which makes sense because all they really care about is money.
Right. So like preserving games is not a benefit to them at all. Like there's no benefit for any company to preserve their games.
Well, that's why we need some kind of, there needs to be some kind of video game preservation movement.
That would require the government.
Yes.
Because the movie industry has that. They have the film registry and the National Archives where movies get deposited in there. And
why can't the video game industry have that? The video game industry makes 10 times the amount of money that the movie industry makes,
but it's not respected like movies are in the culture of the United States, at least.
One day.
One day.
I'm sure one day we will get that.
One day.
Well, I think one day. I hope so. But I think regardless, that's mostly me playing devil's advocate. Besides that, I think this is a great technology, and I think that I cannot wait to see it in action, to see what type of games can support this type of stuff and what the changes that are going to be made to this. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah. Cool.
I think we're all in agreement. So excellent. Any last thoughts on this? Do we know any games that
they didn't?
Probably Assassin's Creed, like you said.
I think that's it.
Did they show any games at the showcase?
They didn't show anything. It was a terrible trailer. It was it was weird graphic and stuff, dude.
Bunch of graphics.
Actually, don't even watch it. It was
bunch of key advertising words.
Fair enough.
Weird.
They had the technology and didn't have the video to back it up. But
Why even
hopefully,
announce it? Like, why wouldn't they just save this? Announce this was Assassin's Creed. I mean,
stock prices. It's
yeah,
always stock prices.
probably so.
But speaking of weird faces, we got a glimpse at the new SuperMassive game. The official follow-up or spiritual successor, best way to put it.
That's what they're calling it.
The spiritual successor to Until Dawn, which is to this day, to me, I think a top 5 narrative-based game. You know, like in those type of games, like those type of Telltale experience. I don't know what they're called specifically.
100%. Yeah.
I think it's a top 5.
Do they have a name? Huh.
I don't know. I feel like that should have a genre, but it might not. But
yeah,
that's a whole genre of games you can't really play, but you experience and
interactive movies.
There we go.
But more game than movie. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's not like because you think of like Bandersnatch on Netflix. It's like that's technically the same thing, but it's not. You know, but
exactly.
You get what I mean. This is a top 5 narrative interactive movie type game. Until Dawn,
and so now we have another one coming. Oh, I'm so excited. Soon.
Is it PlayStation exclusive?
No, it's coming to everything. This game is actually being published by 2K. So it's being funded by them, and it's coming June 10th, actually.
Gave him a little fraction of the Grand Theft Auto budget, you know, gave him let them work.
Which is so exciting because, I mean, as probably everyone on this podcast knows, I am a huge fan of SuperMassive games. I play every single one of their games. Like I played their when they used to do the PlayStation Play Link Hidden Agenda, where you use your iPad or your phone as the controller. I played that. I played their VR titles. I played their current games that we thought would be the only things that come out from them for a while, which is their Dark Pictures anthology, which they've had 3 so far.
Is it fair to call that a misstep in terms of like they probably should have just did a direct like successor to Until Dawn, then maybe do those games?
Yeah, that is very fair. So as a fan of that anthology, so their last one was amazing. Their last one was extremely good. And every one of their games of the Dark Pictures anthology has built on what the previous one did. So they're doing like in that anthology, they do like very experimental things. Like they change up the formula a little bit where they take user feedback for, oh, we didn't like that. Oh, we don't like the fixed camera angles, so we're just going to make it completely free roaming. Like they take consideration into that and then will improve it and implement it into their next game. So much so that their last game, House of Ash, was very, very, very good. I really like that. Was their best game since Until Dawn. So I feel like them doing that anthology allowed them to be a little bit more experimental and try a lot of things so that they can get to, okay, how are we gonna not just make a Until Dawn sequel, but like make a substantial step and make it so much better than Until Dawn was before, instead of just making the same thing, which everyone would have wanted in the first place and would have been happy for, but what would have made it better? And I think because they did that, their new game, The Quarry, which is supposed to be more AAA in budget and everything, is going to be all the more better for it, and it's gonna do a lot better than Until Dawn, I think.
Cole, do you have any history with Until Dawn?
I don't. I've heard y'all talked really good about it, so you made me want to play it. I'm gonna go back and play it at Halloween this year, I think.
It was at one point, very small point, but at one point it was my favorite PlayStation 4 game. Like,
I remember, and I remember the story you tell about you played it with a big group of friends, and y'all had
we were passing the controller around. Like it was, I did not expect that to be a party game.
Yeah, me either. That's how I played it when it first came out as well. And this game has, as opposed to like Dark Pictures Anthology, where there's usually only 4 or 5 characters, this one has 9. And all of them, it's supposed to be bigger. It's like more AAA. It's supposed to be all 9 have like 10 to 12 different ways they can die. Versus in the anthology, there's probably only like 3 or 4 ways you might be able to kill them. But yeah, cool. Seems like a great game. And And they're making it just like Dark Pictures. They're making it completely co-op too.
Oh, awesome!
Both
Yeah, so
local
I want to
and
play. How many
online,
players?
apparently.
2 players.
Yeah,
So I
that's what
would
they're
love to
saying.
play this with one of you guys.
I'm
Like
in.
that to me would make the experience. So I'm down to play that like day one. That'll be awesome. Comes out in June.
Mhm.
Finally be caught up on everything. Maybe.
Yeah, we have nothing else to play, so that's what I'll be playing then.
Yeah.
It's about
Wait.
time.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm super anticipating this. You should definitely play Until Dawn first, though. I think that.
What are you doing?
I kind of want to play it during Halloween though, and I feel like I have enough to play. This may be my first one, then I may go back to that one.
I will say, like, Until Dawn, like I booted it up on my PS5 just to see how it looked, and it looks fantastic. Like,
Does it? I haven't gone back to it.
It got for it. I don't think it got an official update because it still says like the PlayStation 4 logo and everything, but it runs at 60 frames now. Like, it looks really good. It looked really good on my 4K TV.
Nice.
So I would highly recommend at least booting it up to see it, Alfredo. And Cole, when you get around to it in October,
it's free. Is it? It's free, right? It's free with the PlayStation.
Yeah, it's one of the free. Yeah, it's one of the free PlayStation Plus collection games.
I like playing games with the season, so like it gives me a good game to play at Halloween.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did you play the VR, the Until Dawn
Back for Blood?
Yeah,
something
the little shooter on the roller coaster.
Yeah,
I liked it. I remember that was the first thing I played.
I was scared.
I was scared. I couldn't finish it. I couldn't play the first level hard.
To me, it felt like one of those games you play at, like, when I was a kid. There was like, like was it Jeepers? I think it was called Jeepers.
Oh, that movie?
No, Jeepers, like the Jeepers, like it was maybe it was just a Maryland thing, but it was like a Chuck E. Cheese type place, but a little more mature.
What? What does that even mean?
It was like in between. It was like in between Chuck E. Cheese and Dave and Buster's. Like, Jeepers sat in the middle. And so we ain't Alfredo from
Georgia. We ain't got that.
Right. Chuck E. Cheese for adults is what you're saying.
I think Jeepers closed down, so I don't think it's a thing anymore either. But it had like little kind of like roller coasters that were kind of like that. So to play that in VR was very interesting. I really like that game. That's why I kept my VR unit for so long.
Oh, really? Yeah, I was too scared. I did play it, and I have it still, but it was one of my first VR experiences, so I was not ready for a VR horror experience like that.
As a Until Dawn game, I don't think it was that great, but
yeah, for sure.
As a little side thing, I thought it was cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was also Ben saying there's also The Impatient, another VR title, which wasn't very good, but yeah, that's the only one of their games that I did not play.
Interesting.
But
I haven't heard of that one. Looking forward to it as well. There's another game I'm more looking forward to, though. And we got a state of play showing off official gameplay of Avalanche Studios' own Hogwarts Legacy. Did everybody get a chance to see this?
Yes.
Yup.
The one thing that surprised me, there was another studio name in there.
Yeah, Portkey Games.
And they were
one of the mobile Harry Potter games.
And what was also weird is when you saw the Hogwarts Legacy logo, it says Portkey Games in the logo. I'm like, so wait, who's developing this game? Like Avalanche didn't get in the title card.
That's fair. They might be doing like a co-developed type of thing, but yeah, it was weird that their name.
But you would think they show both names, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I was the head of Avalanche, I'd be like, I need my name in the title. I was shocked by that. I was not expecting that, but I was like, okay. Like,
before we go into this, like, how can you go from doing? I mean, I guess Ben could give us a little bit more perspective on this, but like, you're doing iOS games, and then Avalanche Games we talked about before did the Cars game on Switch. How do you go from that to doing something like this?
I mean, obviously Ben would have deeper knowledge into it, of course, but I would assume hiring talent, one.
Yeah, but
two, probably letting go. Yeah, but I feel like if you hire the right people and get the right people in charge, I feel like you can turn any studio into what it would need to be to do this.
I mean, I guess who knows? They may have hired the person in charge that was the second man behind guy from Corey Barlog. They might have hired his, you know what I mean? Like, who knows who they hired?
I know they let go. I know they let go of a director due to controversial reasons that we will avoid. But I think they let go of one of the directors who was originally on the game. He was on the Last Stand Media. He was on Last Stand Media, kind of talking about it. So they hired and fired many people in the process of making this game. But yeah, and like Ben said, they made Disney Infinity, which was that's a big project.
Yeah,
and it was good.
It was a good game. Yeah,
it was very well received. Had good gameplay and stuff.
So I don't think saying they're a trash developer that only makes Cars games is, I don't think that's fair to them. First, I know you weren't saying that, Cole.
No,
I don't.
I was saying that.
But that is kind of the narrative.
You're going from a shovelware studio to like this, but Disney Infinity, so that's solid. I didn't know that. That makes me feel better.
And look, what also made me feel better is just watching this like preview.
Yes.
Unbelievable! Are you kidding me?
Like what? 15 minutes we got to see.
Yeah.
I was captivated the whole time. Like, it's been a while since I was watching like a game preview. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah, it's very rare for a game to deliver like this did in its presentation. The presentation was so good.
Yes. The last time I remember a game doing this to me was Spider-Man. The first time I saw Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Where I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, because I always accepted that, Spider-Man Web of Shadows, like Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. I accepted. Yeah, I was fine with that, to be honest. I was like, you know what? I love these games in their own little way. They're not masterpieces, but I love them. Same thing with Harry Potter, where I have very fond memories of playing those original games on my GameCube.
That's a good comparison.
And Sorcerer's Stone on the PC. So good. Chamber of Secrets.
Chamber of Secrets is a great game. I will go to the grave saying
Sorcerer's Stone was very good too. That was a great game. It was a great game.
I played that on PlayStation 1, and it was fine. Chamber of Secrets felt like Dark Souls to Elden Ring. But yeah, no, but the last time a game trailer really got me was that Spider-Man reveal, where I'm like, okay, so it's obviously Insomniac has a different pedigree, but like Insomniac's making a Spider-Man game and it looks like this. Jesus. I'm sitting here watching this trailer like, I don't know who the fuck the studio is per se, but this game looks fucking incredible. And I'm sorry, there's only so much you can fake until you make, Like, we've seen games like the one I always point to is Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs, I remember watching that EA trailer thinking,
don't remind me.
I don't even think games look like that even to this day.
I think they do if you like are on PC and have everything on Max.
No, but not as dynamic. No, but not as dynamic as everything was in that. Like, it was not just the graphics, because graphics have progressed farther. It was like the amount of effects that were going on in that. Like, it was like, I don't think the games do that lighting like that even to this day.
They needed Ubisoft scaler.
They needed it, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but I'm watching this and I'm like, this is way more done than I thought it was. Where I'm like, this looks legit like it could come out tomorrow. I was expecting it to look a lot rougher than it actually looked.
I wouldn't say come out tomorrow. I thought it would. Don't get me wrong. I thought the game looked great. It was giving me, as a casual Harry Potter fan, it gave me everything I wanted. You can do potions. You can do. You can fly on your broomstick. You can cast spells, have duels, all of that. Like, it was giving everything to me. But when they first showed the combat, I did get a little like, I don't know. Something about the combat didn't look great to me. And I think if they can tighten that part up, then it will succeed on everything else. Like, everything else is there.
Here's my thought about the combat. I graded on a curve. Because if it were to be, like, you can't insert Dark Souls combat in here. You can't insert, God of War combat in here.
Right.
And all of those, if you think about all the other combat systems, they all follow a very similar format. You have up close, you have far, like long distance. You can't really do close range combat in Harry Potter. Like that would not look right. I've literally seen like all the movies, and I can't think of one time where they're like not using their wands.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying give every student a sword, sort of.
You know, I know you're not. But I'm saying, like, as far as what I thought this combat was going to be, this is exactly what I thought it was going to be, and I'm like, this is perfect. Where it's like, I do think the one thing they didn't show is the HUD that's going to be obviously in the game.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a hub that shows
some
you
sort of mana bar, maybe. Well, I don't know, because all it is spells. We'll see.
I mean, I feel like you're gonna have to have a little spell wheel. You know, you're gonna have to have a little like cross thing where it has different spells. I imagine that's gonna be like hard to do.
Is it though? Because what I was thinking, what would actually make the combat stand out a little bit more to me would be, are we gonna get some fighting game type combos where if I hit back and square, then it's this spell, but if I hit this combo, then it's this spell, like that kind of deal.
I hope not. Oh God!
I mean, I would be happy.
I hope it's as simple. I hope it's as simple as possible. Just me personally. I hope it literally is just map it to a button.
There's too many spells for that, though.
You pick your spells. You go with a loadout. You have 4. You pick 4, depending on the situation you're in. And hell, what if they're freely like changeable? You know, like how Horizon does it, where it's like you can have all these weapons. You can only equip a couple. You know.
Yeah.
So, but you can always pause and change. You know?
Oh, you know what? That is a great idea. Implement a Horizon Forbidden West specifically type of spell wheel, because even with that spell wheel in Horizon, you can have like 15 different arrow types. You might have like 6 different actual weapons, but there's like sub categories of each, and that would work great.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty great. I would highly recommend they do that. At this point they've already done it,
right?
But
have they? Because we still have how many months? We still it's targeting holiday.
I would like
to think.
I would hope that the game is relatively done, at least from a spell wheel perspective. Like that.
Can y'all hear me?
That's a big yes. We can.
Okay, thanks. Sorry,
we got the Duke of Rocket League back.
Yes,
but yeah. We were just talking about what they're going to do as far as spell ring goes. But your initial thoughts on this trailer?
Yeah, what do you think?
So I want to go back to your combat. The combat looks like it hits nice. Like it's long distance combat, but you could see that punctual like hit, like almost like boom, boom, boom.
It was also the animations that sold me too.
Yeah,
like it looks like it didn't look corny. It looked like they're legit casting spells, and each little hand movement's different. Oh, the parry was
really cool. Yeah,
absolutely.
But the downside of combat is by the time we got to the trailer, it started looking very repetitive. I mean, very repetitive. You know what I mean?
Yes, I can agree.
The animations in this were incredibly impressive. Like I thought they were so awesome. And like when you were walking through, like they were going to those spell rooms and those like pots, those vats of like all these spells and the effects and stuff that was incredibly impressive too. And it's just everything kept impressing me more and more and more and more throughout the whole trailer.
Same here. And it also how they were implementing the lore into gameplay was like chef's kiss.
Yeah.
When they show that the room of requirement is going to be a base building settlement, I was like, oh my God.
Very cool.
I was like, oh my God. Like that's like some shit you see in your dreams. Like
the moment for me was when in combat, they pulled out the shrieking
the mandrake?
The mandrake, and I was like, that's cool.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah.
Because I'll never forget that from I think that's Chamber of Secrets, where they're in the lab, they're in the little garden place, and the mandrakes are screaming. I'll never forget that moment. And I'm like, yo, that's just the tip of the iceberg of all the references.
Right. They are definitely, even with the trailer just showing it, I feel like they're definitely doing well in terms of fan service, and people are not going to be disappointed as fans going into this game, which I'm really excited for. And I was concerned about before we got the state of play.
I also think that it doesn't retcon Harry Potter at all, it seems. But I like the fact, because I feel like the original, just reading the books, watching the movies, the original seven books, 8 movies, they don't really focus on the magical beast like that. Like that's not a big thing. Right? They're there, but that's not like they're just there. It's not primary. It's not like the Fantastic Beast movies, but that's the point of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting that that's a big focus in this game. Like that's a huge section of it. I'm like, they're kind of bridging the gap between those two.
Exactly.
And I'm like, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have the benefit of being able to take both, not only from Harry Potter, but from everything that's come after it, including the Fantastic Beasts.
Right. And it's set in such a great time period, set in the 1800s. Mm-hmm. So it's like the rooms are the same. Like the Hogwarts rooms and stuff are the same. The layout of Hogwarts is the same, but it's going to look a little different. And every room's going to be different. I am very curious if they are legit doing Hogwarts is like the entire castle is explorable.
Yeah, they are. They said that. So did y'all watch the dev interview like after this?
Yeah, I watched it.
Yep. And they were basically like, what ties Harry Potter together? And they're like Hogwarts. It's Hogwarts, and like they're going all in on exploring everything. And like they were talking about how they had to figure out, like in the movies you don't see it all, but they have to figure out how to build it out and connect everything. I think it's going to be fully explorable, and like even at the end of the trailer, like walking on Hogwarts is one of the most magical places in cinema history. Like it's incredible. And for us to be able to explore that, and then they show all the countryside too, and then they show that you can ride a broom. I was like, are you kidding me? And it's getting better. Then they showed Hogsmeade, the town. And I was like, oh my God, this is awesome.
See, that's where I get awesome. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I hope that it's as big as I think it's going to be. Mm-hmm. But
like, is when this still too big though?
When they started showing the towns and outside of Hogwarts, I'm like, is this going to be as big as it's implying? Where it's like you're going to get all of Hogwarts, you're going to get all the countryside, you're going to get a town, maybe a couple towns. That's asking a lot. Mm-hmm. That's asking a lot.
How the hell they do this?
Yeah, that's what
I don't know if they can. Are we, like you're saying, are we gonna get like in the loading screens, the invisible barriers of like needs to load into this new section instead of like being fully open world?
Y'all, and they even said it's on Switch. Like, how the hell is this running on Switch?
I still want detail. But they didn't say cloud though. That's the thing. They said it's a port, and I'm like,
I think they'll say it's a cloud eventually.
To me, if they don't say it's a cloud, I'm looking at this game a little differently.
I know, and I don't,
because the last game that did that for me, when they said the GTA trilogy is going to be on the Switch, I was like, ooh, that definitely lowers the scope of what this is going to be. Mm-hmm. So I hope to God it's the cloud version. But if it's not, I'm like, so you're going to put this on Switch and you're going to be able to explore all of Hogwarts and the countryside?
Some games, though, they were able to do that. Older games.
Witcher 3?
Like, exactly. The Witcher 3. It ran terribly, though, so.
That's a fair one. And Witcher 3 is a pretty vast game. I would say, though, there's no interiors of the Witcher 3 that are like Hogwarts.
Mm-hmm. Those interiors looked awesome. Some of the best I've ever seen.
And look, maybe Ben would probably be able to speak better to this, but I feel like interiors are a lot more difficult.
Detailed.
Yeah, like it's just a lot more going on there than just like an open vista. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I don't know. I think this game impressed the hell out of me, but it has a case to me of it's too good to be true.
I agree. So and then they threw on us the thing that I've been telling you guys I wanted in so many games for so long was a daggum season system. Fall, spring, summer, winter. Mm-hmm. Like, and they have that too. I was like, this is unbelievable. They showed him walking down the path and it turned into snow, then it turned spring and autumn.
But it was at that moment. That's why it made me start to think, okay, maybe this is
that's when I threw my hat down. I was
open world, living world as I think. Because
that's the thing. Like I don't see anywhere where it says this is like an open world game.
Right.
But that's what's
they call it an action RPG. Like that's when I looked at the blog.
level.
It is open world. They showed him flying around the huge open world in the broom.
I mean,
I think it's gonna be open world, but like I don't know if the entire Hogwarts
Well,
is
the
gonna
only
be
reason you're
like.
saying that is because we just think that there's no way they can accomplish this.
My thing is, I don't know many developers who would even be like, maybe if you gave this to Rockstar, okay, I'm not gonna doubt Rockstar.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But even if you gave this to like Insomniac, I'd be like, really? Like you're gonna do the entire, you're gonna crack Hogwarts? That's a
let's say this,
lot.
but if they did, if Insomniac released this trailer, I would be hyped beyond belief because I'd be like, okay, I can see them doing this. If Ubisoft had it, I would say, okay, I can see this actually happening. This looks incredible. But with these studios behind this, I just don't trust it. It's because we've been burned so many damn times. I think we're gonna get burned again, and I hate to get burned on this because it looks unbelievable.
This might be the best. This might be the best like preview I've ever seen. Truthfully,
yes, yeah. Definitely, which probably is credited to the fact that this game has gotten delayed so many times. It's been rumored since years ago, and it was supposed to be revealed last year, and then they put out that letter saying it had to get moved, and I think that helped it to get to this more final state. To now, we've seen it in its most complete form.
It leaked a long time ago. I remember. I like to say like 2017.
The character creator.
I remember that leaked out, and I was like, and they because everybody already knew that Harry Potter RPG is being made, but that was the first time where we got glimpses of it, and so it's like to see what that was. Now seeing what this is now, I'm like, that is a huge jump. If this game delivers, oh my god, like the sky, like. I know we talk about Elden Ring and how big of a success Elden Ring is. But God, a Harry Potter open world game. Imagine if it gets high Metacritics, like God.
Look, if it delivers on everything that it has promised, this will be one of the highest reviewed games of all time. I feel like it just can't deliver. We're going to see the same somewhere.
I mean, it won't for
unfortunately. You know where I think that we're going to see the seams. You know where I just can see from this.
I feel like we're gonna see a whole bunch of incomplete reviews for it.
I think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see a game that has an incredible castle, pretty open world. But I think at the end of the day, I think it's gonna graphically maybe not quite live up to this, like kind of what Alfredo was getting at before.
Yeah, I didn't see that though.
No, I agree. I don't see it. I agree, but this is what I think is happening.
But remember, Watch Dogs. Don't get burned.
Watch Dogs, exactly. I think it's gonna,
but like I feel like that's a little different because I don't like with PlayStation, like even that because I guess Microsoft did it for Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
hey, PlayStation hung their hat on No Man's Sky pretty hard too before it came out.
That's true too. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that where we're gonna see the cracks, I think the open world might look incredible. It might be, all that might be fine, but I think the story. I mean, the quest line and quest structure is going to suffer.
I was going to say the opposite, actually, because I thought from what they showed of the story, it's way more intriguing than I thought it would be. Like the underlying story, it seems like they are taking delicate care of the story and are not making it like a second thought to the combat and to just exploring the world. It seems like there is an actual quest that seems intriguing enough. And with villains and characters that are very Harry Potter is very, very in that world. It seems like they're paying really good attention to the stories that were already told in that world and this story. So I actually think that the story is going to be pretty good. I don't think it's going to be like an HBO drama type of story, but I think it will be very good in terms of what we would come to expect for a Harry Potter story.
I just need to be average. Like it does not even have to be that great because just being in the world, like y'all know, I think Cole was there for it when we were talking about open world, like what makes open world game for us. And my main thing is traversal. You can't.
The broom looks incredible.
Yeah, you can't tell me that's not the perfect way to traverse a world. Like that by itself. When I saw how it worked, and I was like,
good.
It looked impressive.
That's fair, yeah.
So I'm like, just from that standpoint, this game has won me over on so many fronts. It just seems too good to be true. Like,
And
that's the only thing for me.
And for an open world, I feel like it's different for this one because it's not just an open world, but it's an open world Harry Potter world where, okay, you can have an average story, but if you include like a story section where we get to fly through Gringotts or like the bank or like these iconic Harry Potter.
Oh, they already shown that. They already shown that.
Then that's gonna put it higher than anything else because like it's something we've always wanted to do, and
when we saw the Chamber of Secrets like lit up like it's daytime in there, I was like, oh my god, they're gonna play with the lore in terms of like show important locations but in new lights.
Right? Yeah,
they're only allowed. They can't change anything. They can't change anything. Like they're
right.
Like you even see, like as soon as the logo comes up, it says Wizarding World right there, and that's the brand. That's the brand that pretty much like keeps everything in line. Make sure it's not like it's consistent with the canon.
Exactly.
So it's gonna be consistent with the canon. That means this is ultimately gonna be a filler story, but not all filler is bad. Yeah, not all filler is bad.
Yeah, as long as it's serviceable, but as long as in the story you get brought to all of these different iconic locations where you get to interact with those things, and I think that will put it over, like as a critical darling.
What do we think sales might be?
I can't say yet. I don't know.
I'm gonna say 30 million.
I'm gonna wait a little bit before I don't know.
Harry Potter is huge, and people who are not will be buying this game.
No, I agree. I mean, this could be huge.
I think this could potentially be the biggest game of the year.
Yep.
Well, obviously, it will come out. If it comes out late, it will go into the next calendar year. I think it could be the biggest game because I can't think of a last time a licensed property has been given care like this besides Spider-Man. You would, and honestly, like, who knows what Spider-Man would sell if it was multi-platform? Like, who knows?
Yeah.
That game already is the highest selling, like Miles Morales is already one of the highest selling PlayStation games ever. So it's like that game would sell crazy if it was on Xbox, on PC. This is on everything.
Do y'all think WB just said, you have an open checkbook? This is our most important franchise, and y'all just make this thing unbelievable. And they gave them 7 years to do it. And they said, hire who you have to do. Like, I want to hear, we need a write-up on this game. I need to know what happened behind the scenes on this. This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot to talk about. I mean, they had a whole lot of drama with this game to start off. They lost this director. I think it lost 2 directors, actually. So there is a lot of story with this game. It leaked really early in development. So we've heard about this game for so long.
When did it first leak? What year was that?
I think 2017.
Yeah, I think
that long ago.
Around there.
Really?
I think it was around the time the Switch came out.
5 years ago, and it looked good then. I remember thinking everybody was pretty hype on it when that leaked.
I was
awesome.
I was like, just give me this. Just give me the leaked version right now. Like, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad they got to refine this. I'm glad that it is looking like a game of the year contender, which I wasn't expecting it to be that. I wasn't expecting it to be that good. I thought it was going to be, I'm going to play this because it's a Harry Potter game and I'm probably going to like it. This looks like it, like I have not seen, it honestly reminds me of a modern day Bully. Like, I don't know if y'all played Bully before.
Yeah, it does. If this game lives up to what we've seen, it'll be my game of the year probably.
Now that brings me to my question.
That's a bold statement.
It's a bold statement, but it's also a very tall task to live up to what it showed us. I mean,
but I have a question for you guys regarding that. Do you think it'll make the holiday?
No, season? This gets delayed till next year.
It better. It's on my list. It's on my fantasy list. It's better. I am biased. I am admittedly biased. It better. I will be going to the studio if it doesn't. I'll be like, guys, we got to get this going. I got fantasy points on the line. Come on.
I don't know. I also feel like it will get delayed. like into early 2023, but at the same time, it's had so much time already.
Yeah,
and it looks good.
I feel like it's been in the oven for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the other delays were very reasonable delays.
Right.
You know, I feel like it looks pretty ready. Now, obviously, we don't know.
Does.
Obviously, game behind the scenes, they can show us a vertical slice of anything, but it looked pretty ready. Like I remember when I first saw Breath of the Wild, and I was like, "Oh, that's probably gonna get delayed." I remember when I first saw it, I was like, "It looks good, but that does not look done," you know. And it's like it is completely different than the last trailer they showed, where I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's not getting delayed. That's gonna hit that date." This looked more like it's gonna hit that. It's gonna hit that period because why not? This could. If Gotham Knights gets delayed, this is going to be the only game Warner Brothers their releases that's going to be of any substance.
Yeah, I could see them just putting out a statement saying the game needs more polish to live up to the Harry Potter fans' expectations or something like that.
Okay, here's some stats for you guys. Go ahead.
Oh, the last thing, Warner Brothers is in the middle of a merger right now.
With who?
AT&T?
No, Discovery bought them.
Oh,
well, that's weird.
I think AT&T already owned them. I think they sold them to Discovery. And so I think that but just to say that, just my point is with that is, I think if you get new ownership, they're going to want to just ship this out. Like you're gonna want to have those sales numbers look real good going into the next fiscal year.
Listen to this. This is pretty crazy. Okay, PlayStation YouTube, right? Your number one video on PlayStation YouTube is the PlayStation 4. I guess the PlayStation 4 trailer 9 years ago, 41 million views. Second is the PS5 hardware reveal trailer, 39 million.
That's the best video of all time.
That was a great one.
That was a great video.
But the PS4 beat it. Okay, so the PS4 beat that 41-39. The number 3 video on PlayStation YouTube is the Hogwarts Legacy official reveal trailer from a year ago.
Oh,
28 million views.
Damn.
What'd I say?
That's number
30
3.
million.
Okay, number 4, Marvel Spider-Man E3 trailer 2016.
Wow.
Okay, then you got God of War, the PS4 trailer, Marvel Spider-Man 2, God of War, official PlayStation used game instructional video where they burned Xbox. That's up there. The Last of Us Part 2. So the Last of Us, to put it in perspective, the Last of Us Part 2 gameplay reveal trailer, 18 million. Hogwarts Legacy, 28 million. This game could be massive.
Yeah.
I mean, besides superheroes and Star Wars, what's a bigger property than Harry Potter?
Exactly. Which is why I think
and this is what
maybe Lord of the Rings, and I feel like that's a push.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Lord of the Rings doesn't touch Harry Potter, I don't think.
I feel like on its best
it's pretty
does.
High.
Yeah, I feel like on its best because I feel like once that series comes out, it's gonna be we've never gotten a true Lord of the Rings game.
I mean,
we had some really good Lord of the Rings. PS2 days, we had some really good Lord of the Rings games.
Yeah, but that's like, that's like saying that we got a bunch of Harry Potter games for PS2. You know,
it's
like
right.
Or like saying we got a bunch of Spider-Man games too. I guess.
Yeah, you know, like those games were cool, but
I feel like people have been calling for a Harry Potter good game for so long.
Yeah, for sure. Oh,
I also want to real quick shout out Shadow of War, Lord of the Rings game, which people love, made by W.
Those are not Lord of the Rings games because they only focus on Mordor.
I'm just saying.
No, they're good games. They're good. I love those games. Like I think I platinum Shadow of Mordor, and I love I played a good portion of Shadow of War. I think they're great games, but they do that universe a disservice because that universe is begging for an open world game, and that game is just Mordor.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that a Lord of the Rings game could get a similar pop to Hogwarts Legacy if they did it the same way.
I agree.
But I do think Harry Potter, besides Star Wars and the superhero, I feel like obviously Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. Besides those, Harry Potter is the biggest media franchise.
I feel like it's even bigger than superheroes, to be honest. Harry Potter.
No, it's not bigger than Spider-Man or Batman.
Harry Potter transcends.
It's bigger than Superman. I'll give you that. It's bigger than Superman, not Batman.
I don't think it's bigger than Marvel. Marvel's more popular than Harry Potter.
I don't
It
know.
depends on the
Since
hero.
2008. Since 2008, I think so.
I don't know. I think you guys
maybe
are.
Iron Man and like Thor, I wouldn't put a Doctor Strange thing above Harry Potter.
I think
No,
you
I
guys are
wouldn't either.
biased.
But I'm just saying Marvel in general.
I think you guys are very severely underestimating how big the Harry Potter fan base is.
I'm not. I'm just saying that. Look, I think it's kind of unfair to say Marvel because, like, are we including Spider-Man in that?
I think Star Wars is the biggest, then Marvel, and actually, I think you make an argument that Marvel is actually more popular than Star Wars now. I think Marvel's 1, Star Wars is 2, Harry Potter's 3.
And I think Harry Potter.
I don't even think there's anyone else in number 4 even close.
Here's the problem with that thing though, because you're right about that ranking. I feel. When's the last Star Wars movie we had?
Hey, that's why I said Marvel pro-hopped them. That's why Marvel hopped over them.
No, and that's not even my point. Like 2019 was the last Star Wars movie, right?
Yeah.
The last Marvel movie was when?
Like a few weeks ago.
What was the last Harry Potter movie?
Yeah.
And it's third.
2 or 3 years ago? 3 years ago, probably.
No.
Fantastic Beasts.
Fantastic Beasts. That doesn't count, though.
Yeah,
I don't Harry Potter movie.
It's like, yeah, but nah. It's like, nah.
Well, it's like, over, though. But that's Harry
like
Potter
saying,
is over.
That's like saying Solo. That's like saying like Solo is a Star Wars movie. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, but you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But that's over. Like that generation's over. The story's done. They're not going to go back to Daniel Radcliffe's not coming back.
But Fantastic Beasts is more of a side story. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like how Solo is a side story. It's a
which kind of sucks about Harry Potter. Like that they can't continue the story. I mean, I guess she might one day.
They can. I don't think she'd write the books. I think they would just release them simultaneously. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the sales would be crazy no matter what. And I feel like they would want to get it out.
It's kind of like what they did with the Harry Potter play, The Cursed Child, where J.K. Rowling didn't exactly write it, but she approved it, and it's like the 8th story.
Could you imagine? I think
it's like the 7.5.
It would almost be. It wouldn't be quite as hype, but it would be almost as hype as whenever Disney bought Star Wars and announced that they are going forward with 7, 8, 9. And now is a great time to buy the Harry Potter. If you could buy the Harry Potter IP from J.K. Rowling and separate yourself from all that controversy, what if Disney bought Harry Potter? I would be all for that.
Yeah. No, they have enough. They have enough gold. They have enough gold. We can't do that. They can't own the 1, 2, and 3 media IP in the world. You can't do that.
I mean, they can.
No.
Enough is enough.
I was with you until you said this. Just keep it with Warner Brothers. Like maybe Warner Brothers can just buy it outright.
Maybe George Lucas wants to buy it.
Give it to Warner Brothers. Like
George Lucas is on a ranch chilling. He's not doing anything. But yeah, I think that just besides the point, I think that this game, I think it has the potential to outsell a Call of Duty. I really do. I think this game is going even if it gets like 8s. I think that's enough.
No, if it gets 8s, that's enough. If it gets 8s, if it can score 8.0 or above, it would be huge.
Look, I said 30 million, guys. Mark my words. This is going to be an Elden Ring type release in terms of sales.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a bit bigger than Elden Ring. Even though Elden Ring is the sky's the limit for Elden Ring, I think Harry Potter is a different entity.
But here's the caveat. It will be bigger than Elden Ring or an Elden Ring type release if it delivers. If this stumbles and falls and it's not good, it's not going to carry. It's not.
You know what's crazy? I think even if it stumbles and falls, it's still going to be like a top 5 selling game of the year.
That's fair.
Yeah, it'll be a top
as
5.
long as it gets like 7 at least.
Because my thing is, and look, it's a different topic, and we're not going to get too deep into it. Who knows what these reviews are going to entail?
That's true.
That's all I'll say.
Very true.
Who knows how these reviews are going to be handled?
Yeah,
I'm losing trust by the day that it's going to get a fair shake.
Ooh, you're right about that. I didn't think about that. That's very true.
Either actually.
So
It's
we'll
very
see.
true.
We'll see in regards to that. I have faith, but it's definitely like visions of grandeur.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh! Any closing thoughts? Anybody? Not, I think we're all excited, right?
Yes, very.
I hope Ben's excited too. I hope Taylor's excited too. But this has been the Dukes of Gaming. Again, you can listen to us on your favorite podcast service or watch us on YouTube. Leave a like, a review, a comment, anything to help support the show. You can even email us at therealdukesofgaming@gmail.com. Have your question read live on air. We will answer it off top. Hit the bell as well to get notifications for when we release our latest videos. We post everywhere, every week. So make sure you start your week right with the Dukes of Gaming. And with all that being said, I bid thee farewell.